Hi guys, thanks for coming back to another video. Appreciate y'all coming back. I need to apologize if my voice is cracking. I'm just getting over a very serious cold. The Lord came to me last night and He woke me in the night somewhere around 1:30. We spoke from 1:30 until about 2 o'clock in the morning. He was giving me information in regards to what was upcoming. He has been guiding me in my particular studies for the last several days, some things that he's been telling me in the middle of the night and what he's been telling me to dig into during my studies has been really, really interesting. However, what he was talking to me about last night, I would like to go ahead and bring forth first, and that is going to be the reason for this particular video. I awoke, I realized I was stirring in the bed. I was not able to go back to sleep. I finally realized, oh my goodness, the Lord has probably woken me up. I reached out to Him and I said, Lord, are you wanting me to do something for you? Are you wanting to speak with me? And He immediately started talking. So I picked up my phone to go ahead and document down what He was saying to me at that time. So at 1:30 in the morning, He said to me, my dove, the time has come for you to become who you were meant to be. It is upon the horizon now. Your ways on this earth will come to an end. You will become more like me in ways you cannot yet comprehend. I am yours, my love, and you are mine, and we can move forward from this point together in unity. I need you to know that within you are great moves of history coming forth. You know not what will be, but my love, make no hesitation toward the movement or change. I am there for you, should you need me. I said, Lord, you speak of movement and change, but yet you do not tell me how things will be. Can you describe? He said, you will come forth, my love, in all your splendor. So now when I see the word splendor, I'm understanding light, glory, illumination. I'm understanding then His Spirit coming up through. He said, you will come forth, my love, in all your splendor, who I was created to be. Okay. I said, is this going to hurt, Lord? Now, the reason why I asked that is because in some of the messages in the past, the Lord has said, most recently, that things were going to be harsh. That was the one word that He said, and that has kind of stuck into my mind. And so I'm asking Him, Lord, is this going to hurt? What am I to expect? Let me brace myself for what's getting ready to come. I will do it. I will walk it, but at least let me know what's getting ready to come. And so when I asked Him, will this hurt? This is what He said to me. He said, it will be like a molting process. One will drop off and one will come to be. I said, drop off, Lord? What does that mean? And He said, cease to exist. Be done with the use of. Things will change. And I said, well, what will I feel, Lord? And He said, a lifting of sorts, a lightness. And I said, Lord, when? Specifically, if possible, because He keeps telling me the time is now. It is now. The time is now. That's what He keeps telling me. And I keep saying, okay, Lord. So I'm asking Him, Lord, when? And He said, my love, the timing remains to be. It shall be soon. So guys, I wanted to share that with you. That was the end of what I had documented in my phone last night from the conversation. I wanted to document this and tell you all about it because a molting process. Now that's pretty interesting. A molting process. When I heard that, the very first thing that my mind went to was like birds when they molt their feathers, right? I did a little bit of listening to, what happens to eagles when they molt their stuff, and how they go through a particular process. And I went through online to start looking at, to say, well, what is the definition of molting? And, does it hurt the animals? And I understood about, like, when a snake sheds their skin, is that considered molting? And, and what is this all about? And I had a few scriptures that came to mind, one being specifically about the new wineskins. And so I'm understanding, okay, this is dealing with transformation. This is dealing with us coming forth, our inner man, who we are to be, our spirit man coming forth, because this is what he is talking about. We are being transformed. We've been waiting upon this. We know the transformation was forthcoming, but he is now talking about it in a little bit more detail. I was not expecting to hear the word molting. I was not expecting to hear some of the stuff that he told me last night. And so, but I have to say this, guys, when you ask, he'll give you an answer for the most part. Now, there's some times that he won't give me the answer, but he was very upfront with me last night. So I wanted to go ahead and share that with you. And so let's start talking about, let's take a look at some of this information that I've pulled up. Let's see what the definition is of molting first, so that we can get a grasp on what he might be talking about. So I went to NetBible, or classic.netbible.org, to go ahead and take a look at the word molt, to see what it was coming up here. It is basically giving me several definitions as to what the word molt means. It means to shed or cast off the hair, feathers, skin, horns, or the like, as an animal or a bird. Okay? To shed or cast off the hair, feathers, skin, horns, or the like. To shed something, to shed it off. The act or process of changing, okay, the feathers, hair, skin, etc. Changing it. Now, that was the word that he used in that message. He said not to, I don't know what it, I don't think he said hinder, but he said not to delay the movement or changing. And then it comes down in here where it's saying to uncover, to bare, to strip, to undress, to disrobe, to dismantle, to put off. Now, that brought to mind another scripture. Take off, cast off, peel, pare, scalp, expose, lay open, cast the skin. So molt, we can see that it's the process of changing the feathers, the hair, the skin, etc. And so when we're thinking about this, several different scriptures come to mind immediately. Brand new, something brand new, a brand new body, something being transformed, something becoming different. When I went online to try and look to see if I could find any studies in regards to molting through the Bible, I was pretty excited to run across two of them, actually, and I'll go ahead and provide them for you. They are not my study. They belonged to a church out of Portland, and I just thought it was really interesting what they had here. They were teaching on transformation and how that was linking to metamorphosis, meaning changing into something else. But they were talking about the definition here of that as metamorphosis and transformation being defined as any marked change in character, appearance, or condition. So the Lord said in that message that it would be you will come forth, he said, in all your splendor. So that would be, to me, sounding like it would be my spirit man, or my new body housing his spirit coming forth. So they're talking about here the definition then of the molting, which is what we were seeing about shedding the hair, skin, horns, etc., prior to the replacement with new growth or something new coming forth. But they were talking about the molting process as shedding the things of this world. And when we think about that in terms of shedding different things, will it be our entire body shedding? Will it be just parts of things being renewed and changed? Guys, I don't know. I can't answer that question. From what the Lord had said here, he was saying that certain things will cease to exist, to be done with the use of. Things will change. And so we could really take a look at that as meaning a couple of different things. And it says here that molting is something that is done more than once in an animal's lifetime. I found that to be really interesting because at one point I really felt like the Lord was telling us that there was going to be two changes. There was going to be two changes within our transformation. And I know I've spoken about that in videos in the past. So in this particular study, it was saying that the key is that molting is a great sign of spiritual growth. It is not something to be avoided, but to embrace and rejoice in. And so basically their particular study was talking about shedding sin. Whether it was sin that they did or sin that was running through their generational families, etc., etc. So they did provide a particular scripture here. It says, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles, and let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us. And that was Hebrews 12. I'll share this particular study with you. Here's another one that this same place did as well, and they were talking about these two studies must have been hand in hand. But it was talking about here that there are some things that used to work in extending the kingdom, but they have become old wineskins. These will not be able to hold the new wine that God is going to pour out upon us. That was the one thing that came to my mind when the Lord was speaking to me last night. We need to be open to change. And I'm not talking about changing the eternal truth of Scripture or the message of the gospel, but we should be open to change as to how the glorious gospel of Jesus is communicated to the world today. So we know that when we are transformed and infilled with His glory and His Spirit and His strength and power, that how we're going to go about talking about the gospel may change a little bit. It's going to change quite a bit because people are going to be drawn to that. So when they were speaking of this, it really kind of resounded within my spirit. The new wine is coming, and we will need new wineskins to contain it. So what is going on with this molting process? Is this preparing our bodies, or is this actually going to be one of the two steps that will get us there? Or how will this happen? Guys, I don't know. I have shared everything that the Lord has given me in regards to the transformations. And this is probably the most in-depth as to what He has been speaking of up to this point. So basically, they're going in and speaking of allowing God to soften our hearts. But He's been doing that with us for several years, and He's been telling us to lay things down and to get things out of our hearts, to go ahead and repent and turn from some of these things, to forgive, to let go, to bless. And so He's been softening our hearts for some time. And it's saying here that He's going to transform us into the people that He has called us to be. Now, when I read that, that just confirmed exactly what the Lord was saying. He said, my dove, it is time for you to become who you were meant to be. And so, we each have a purpose and a plan for each one of our lives, and there is a specific place and purpose that we have to do in our lives. Each one of us has something different, and so he's telling us now that we have to start taking those steps toward that at this time. This is where we are in the timing of things, and so it's still again talking about metamorphosis and what God is going to be doing with our lives, and then this comes right down into talking about the potter and the clay, which is some of the same things that we've been talking about in our recent videos. These are the same things that the Lord has been putting upon my heart and the messages that I have been sharing. So I feel that we are along the same path. I feel like this is information that is being confirmed for us, and this is pretty much where we are. So our new bodies, I mean, guys, that's pretty interesting. When I started looking at some of the scriptures in regards to new bodies, and I'll provide all of these links for you, but the Bible does talk about it quite a bit. It says that our present body is only a tent, which we will put aside. We're going to step out of it at some point, and he will deliver us from this present body of death. He has prepared for us the purpose of being clothed with our heavenly body. And even though we don't know exactly what our new bodies will be like, we know that they will be like Jesus. Is that not what he said in this message? That you will become more like me in ways you cannot yet comprehend. So our bodies are going to be like Christ's glorious body. We will be changed instantaneously when we are raised. However, I don't know how that is working now that we are in the end times as to what he's having us do. To gain our new body, our current body must die. Is that not what he just said to me? He said it will cease to exist. It will be done with the use of, right? Our new body will be incorruptible because our current body is corruptible. Our new body will be glorified because our current body is dishonorable. Our new body will be powerful because our current body is weak. And our new body will be spiritual because our current bodies are natural. And so it just goes on and on and on about the bodies. How about talking about the glory of the Lord is like beautiful colorful brightness. It gives us all the scriptures that we can see in regards to this. At the transfiguration, Jesus' face shone like the sun. And he was able to converse with Moses and Elijah. And we have scriptures here. And we went into some of those studies talking about the transfiguration and what all happened at the top of that mountain. And when they came down on that mountain, Jesus told the apostles that went up there with him not to tell anybody what happened until it was time to do so. And so, guys, there's just so much information here, about what will happen and what we'll be able to do in our future bodies. We will shine like the brightness of the firmament and like the stars. The righteous will shine as the sun in his kingdom. We will be like beautiful sparkling jewels in a crown. Christ will be glorified in us. Now that is what he's been telling us. That is what we've been talking about. His spirit coming within us. His power, his strength, his glory, his spirit, right? That's what we've been talking about all this time. And this is basically saying what our proper response should be. We should be ready. We should keep focused. We should seek insight. We should eagerly wait, and it goes on to provide all of these different different scriptures. And so I'll provide this to you for those that want to dig in and start looking at some of these scriptures. That is confirming the message that the Lord spoke with me last night. Very interesting information. I want to pull up, since how we were talking about metamorphosis, and when we think metamorphosis, the first thing really that came to my mind is the butterfly, and what happens with the butterfly and how everything is changed. But what I really found interesting is that when I pulled it up, take a look here, it's actually called molting. So the caterpillar does, in order for the caterpillar to grow larger than the skin it had when it hatched, it must make new, larger skin. The caterpillar does this first by growing a new skin underneath the outer skin. And when it is ready, it sheds the old skin and the new, larger skin underneath is exposed. This process is properly called molting. After the caterpillar has molted for the first time, it is referred to as a second instar and has some room to grow. And so it goes through several different processes and before it becomes a butterfly. But I thought it was very interesting to see the word molting in that, because I had never, I just didn't even recall seeing it there. I thought that was interesting. So then I also pulled up this, if it will come up here, Britannia. Hang on one moment. Let me see if I can pull this. Oh, here it is. Okay. So I pulled up the word molt in biology into Britannia. And it came up here about the metamorphosis. Now, I want you to see this. This is can you see? Oh my goodness, what in the world? Hang on one second. Here we go. Can you see the regular insect that's down here? Can you see what he's casting off? Take a look. Is it not like a shell of what he was before? Look at that. Look at that. So when I started going through and pulling all of this stuff up, I started wondering, is that what we're going to leave behind, do you think? A shell of our outer person. When I saw that, my mind started wondering, could it be? Would it be? So, guys, I don't know. I have no idea. You get to the point where the Lord is going to tell you, I'm going to call you home. And you're going to say, okay, Lord, I'm ready to go. Regardless of how you take me, I'm ready to go. Because if you call me out of this world and you just take me in this form, however you're going to do it, then you're just going to take me in this form. If you have to change me first in certain parts and certain things have to die, then, let me lay whatever I can lay down now so that when that time comes for that process, it will be easier for me to do it. A lot of people will say, or could say, do you know what you're talking about? You're talking about dying. Do you understand what you're talking about? I've even had fellow family members say that to me. And the answer is, yes, I understand. I know exactly what it is. It is death. Now, whether I pass on and that's how he calls me home, or whether I change here and he changes me through this molting process or a transformation process, if the shell of my body, my outer man, has to die and something else will step out of it, similar to that insect and that thing, I don't know how any of it's going to go. But I can say this. I understand it's a death. I signed on up to this to say, Lord, your will be done. And many, many of us feel the very same way. you know, am I a little nervous about how the process will go? Oh yes, I'm human. I'm a little nervous about how the process will go. But I trust my Lord, and I know that whatever He has told me will come to pass. And if He takes me this direction, I know He'll be with me. If He takes me this direction, I know that He will be with me. Even in this message that He said here today, if you need me, I will be there. I have no doubt in my mind He will make it as easy and as painless as possible. I have no doubt in my mind. I know even for martyrs, I understand that they are taken out seconds before something happens to them. They feel nothing. They are not put through torture and pain. They're not. Because that is how gracious and merciful and loving and kind our God is. That is who He is. He is love, and that is who He is. Now, if He is calling me forth, and this is what's going to happen, and He's telling me something is going to cease to exist, however that may come to be, then so be it. That's how it has to come to be, because that is the reason why I was put on this earth. That is the whole reason why I am here on this earth. I have that purpose that has to come to be, because something else is hinging on it. Okay? I have to go and do my part so that others can do their part, so that others can be covered and faith can be built and certain things can be done. We have no idea what kind of seeds that we're sowing. We have no idea. You know, there's some days that I come and I do these videos and I pray to the Lord later on, and I'm like, Lord, you know, I don't even know if half the stuff that I'm talking about is getting through to who it needs to get through to, but I know that He will make sure that whoever needs to hear the words that I am saying is going to hear the words that I am saying, because it's going to feed their soul. It's going to feed them. So, you know, sometimes you never know. I never know. I don't know. I don't know who it's reaching out to. I don't know who it's speaking truth to. I really don't know. I have met some, and I was so gracious to be able to have that opportunity. But, you know, you just don't know how things are going to touch and affect people. And so we have to be very, very careful about how we put things out and how we're going to walk this walk. Okay? So when someone says to me, do you understand what you're saying? You're talking about death. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Because that is what I signed up for. That is what I agreed to before I got here, before I was birthed in my mother's womb. I had this conversation with Him, and that is what I agreed to. And so that is what is going to come to be. That is my purpose. That is why I am here. But there are many, many others that are here for the same reasons. They have their own purpose, but a lot of this is going to pertain directly to them because of what transformation is getting ready to occur. So guys, I wanted to share this with you. There's a molting process coming. There's a molting process coming. Now, you can go and take a look about the molting process for eagles. I thought this was very interesting. The feathers have to be clean, and they have to lay on top of one another so that it provides a shield for them. They have several layers of feathers on their body, and it has to provide a shield against weather, against wind, to be able to, their wingspan of 6 to 8 feet, you know, those feathers have to stay overlapped and strong so that they can soar and hunt and everything else that they have to do. But when the molting process comes for the eagles, they come out of the high heights and they come down to a much lower place, because feathers start coming out, and usually in sections, in clumps of sections on their body, and they're not able to fly the way that they could fly before. They're not able to hunt for a lot of food. Some of the other eagles have to come and bring food for that particular eagle. Sometimes they go down even down to the forest floor, and that's where they are. But now when they're down there, they are very vulnerable. Because they don't have the ability to get up and fly to the heights that they did until some of those new feathers come in. And so when that molting process comes, it leaves them open and vulnerable, that the other eagles have to watch over and try to provide for that particular eagle. Until their new feathers come in to where they're able to go ahead and start to fly and move about again, they are very weak. They have lost a lot of strength. They are basically in a wilderness type situation, but they do get their feathers back, and then they're able to get up high again, and then they're able to get some calcium from some of the rocks and different things, and then they're able to come back again. But it was fascinating, the information that I found out about the eagles during the molting process, specifically seeing how we are called eagles in the Bible. And so I thought it was very, very interesting. So guys, I wanted to go ahead and bring this to you and just say there's a molting process coming. Maybe this is what he's been talking about it being harsh. I don't know how many times it's going to happen. I don't know if this means this is the transformation or if it's a process that we have to go through. Guys, I don't know, but I wanted to share with you what I had when I was given it. So guys, God bless you. Thank you for coming back to another video. I have some other things that I'd like to share. I'll try to go ahead and get that out to you as soon as possible. God bless you. Stay under His wing until we speak again.